Okay, let me see if we are live on both YouTube and Zoom. Let me check the mechanicals. Shall I? Tracy, I see you. Welcome, sister. Let's see. And we are live on YouTube. Beautiful. I know that so many people were like, I can't watch it live. I'm like, no worries, I got you. We got you on Zoom. We have the Universal Love Academy as well, and then of course Zoom. So we have a lot to go over today, you guys. How are you feeling? How are you feeling? And you're not allowed to say good. So someone put in the chat, how are you feeling? Are you feeling good? Are you feeling fired up? Are you feeling like unsure? Like, how are you feeling today? I'm curious how you guys are feeling. So, fun fact, when I scheduled this Zoom call, I had no idea, like you can't make these things up. I had no idea that we would be in a season, especially if you watch the moon and the cycles and the rhythms of life. We are actually coming up with, we're in a Gemini moon. So if anyone follows those kind of esoteric things, it's really interesting because it's asking us to let go of the very things that are holding us back. It says, I cannot see you. That's not good. Thank you for letting me know. I'm like, I knew something was off tech-wise. I just didn't know what. So thank you. This is why I have people telling you what the heck's going on. So you're like, something's weird. Okay, so I think I know what I'm gonna do. Pause. Yes. There we go. Okay, that should fix the issue, but let's see. Thank you, Tracy. I'm like, somebody on Zoom, tell me if you can. Okay, can you see me at all? Did that change anything? No. Okay, so video off, video on. Guys, we might have to restart the call. But let me
Happen to have a lens cover on your camera?
don't. I wondered if it was because on Zoom, like when you go on YouTube live streaming, when you do it in two places at once, if the systems aren't paired, so fascinating. Okay, I think I know how to fix the issue, so let's end there. Thank you. You're like, I might have a solution for you. That was your authentic design too. Boom, here we are. Okay, see? Did you see? You're like, I have a solution for you. Okay, let's make sure this is still recording. Okay, there we are. Hello, guys. Welcome. Hello, Tracy. Thank you for being live. Thank you for showing your beautiful face. I'm always about like, guys, show your face. Like, it's so interesting how so many of us are like, we want to hide. So back to the cycles with the moon, I thought it was so fascinating, especially if you're in the Western United States, that we're in a Gemini moon coming up on December 4th. And it's all about letting go and it's all about the end. And I'm like, of course it is, because it's December. Like there was so many things that made this recording so relevant that I was like, of course. And I asked Spirit, what are we teaching? So we're going to talk a lot about letting go, but more so how to reframe like the end. That's really what feels so important. I do want to check the chat though. Kind of scattered. There you are. I feel that. Cool. Thank you for putting that in there. Okay, so today let's talk about, I'm going to let you debrief for anyone that wants to. If you're live, great. If you're watching the replay, I'm going to ask you guys some questions. So we've got quite a bit to cover today, but I want to go over really just 4 main key things. So number 1, I want us to reflect on 2025 because for some reason humans are funny. We tend to spend more time in reflection when we're at an event or in a community or in a setting. But then in our personal life, we're like, oh, I'd rather do the dishes, or oh, I have all these things happening and my kids need me. So I'll put that to the side. So I wanted to really give you guys some breathing space to ask really 2 questions. And I'm doing this with you included, okay? Because reflection is really where we find the awareness. And if you've worked with me at all, ever, I'm huge on knowing that we don't level up only through materialism. We level up through progress, and progress happens through awareness, okay? So number 1, I want you guys, if you have a journal, I'm a writer, write down what is the one thing this year that I am so damn proud of myself for. What am I so proud of myself for? And I'm actually going to give you guys in just a moment some time to actually answer that, but I want to give you the questions first. So in 2025, this has been a big year. Would you guys agree? Like the shedding of the shedding. I don't know if anyone else has felt this way, but man, it felt like skin and layers just coming off. The year of the snake. A lot of shedding old skins, a lot of probably death and rebirth, but I'm curious to see how you guys experience that. Maybe some of you were like, nothing changed. I'm like, wow, I have to talk to you. How did you do that? Okay, so number 1, what am I so damn proud of myself for in 2025? And then the second question I want you to reflect on is what needs integrated so that I can close 2025. I felt goosebumps. So what needs to close? Sorry, that was not the question. What needs to integrate so that we can close 2025? So I am going to on the Zoom call, and if you're watching the replay, it's still for you as well, or whether this is on YouTube for you. I would like to give you at least 5 minutes. Yes, pure 5 minutes. I'm not going to talk. And I'm going to put on some tunes for you and some music. And while the music is playing, I actually want you to have reflection on those 2 questions so that we can go deeper. And I can actually share a lot of really how to help you move through that if you want. So you guys have the questions? Will you put yes or no? Tracy, did you get them as well? The questions? Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to put on a timer just for 5 minutes. If you need more, totally understandable. But I want to give you a minute to answer, what am I so proud of? And rather than asking what went wrong, we're going to ask what needs integrated so that I can close 2020. So I'm going to give you just 5 minutes. And then just a reminder for the second question, so first question, what am I so proud of myself for in 2025? And the second question was, what needs integrated so that I can close 2025? Okay, I'll give you guys just another minute. So we're gonna pause there. Okay, so were you surprised by your answer? She's like, yes. Okay, so for those that are on live, Tracy, that might give you the hot spot and the hot seat coaching if you want it. And if you don't want it, that's okay. But I'm going to invite you guys to share if you want to. And it doesn't have to be personal, but just really like any little 5 seconds or however long you want to take. I guess really what I wanted to do is bring some of you into it, or if you don't want to share because it's personal, and it really can be, just really what I can do to support you in either one of those processes. More of self-recognition of like, you are a badass, you understand this is like huge, right? Or yeah, we can help you integrate that. So you can share if you would like to. Would you like to share, Tracy? And you can say no. Okay.
Hopefully, you don't hear my dogs barking in the background.
That's okay
Um,
if we do.
the one thing that I am really proud of myself for is really bringing in more of my divinity and my trust in knowing,
Mhm.
something I question a lot of in my life. And then one of the things that I feel like I need to integrate more is not taking things personally.
Yes, that's huge.
Like letting
Yes.
people leave and go out on their own journeys and their own pathways and not making it
Mm.
about me. And yes, taking it personally.
Mm. Yes, and Tracy's in Universal and Academy, so you might know this answer, and if you don't, that's okay. Do you happen to know what your vocation sphere is or your wound? Do you know what that is? No? Okay, we can talk later. So we can talk about that. That just came up. So I'll get vulnerable with you guys as well because I think it really helps to see that we're all human. So one of the things I was so proud of this year without even recognizing it is not giving up, even though I had a near death experience in March, and having lost two babies and almost my own life in ectopic and fallopian tube removal. It didn't just do something psychologically; it like literally cracked open my heart. And I share that because I think sometimes we forget that while we're ascending or growing, that there are things that come into our lives that we didn't ask for, or things that happen that we're like, wait, that was so left field. Why is this happening? And then, of course, the integration, I felt like this could benefit us all when I wrote it, but I thought maybe some of us just need a permission letter. So the things I wrote down for you guys is a permission letter to let go of the old version of you. Sometimes the fastest way to release what was is to have permission to not keep pulling on it. So, when that's a bad analogy, but I'm going to use it. So, when a child wants to do something and it needs permission, like, Mom, I want to go to my friend's house. And the kid doesn't go to the friend's house until it hears the mother, literally for consequential reasons. Yes, you may go. And I think some of us need a permission letter, which is, yes, you may go. It's okay. Like you are allowed to not keep pulling back on this old thing that is not relevant anymore. Maybe some of us need a release, which can look like a good cry. Some of us could do a goodbye ceremony. Some of us could perhaps use a date with ourselves. Like, when is the last time you dated yourself? Simply because you craved and needed one thing, which was soul recognition and soul self-love. Pick your words. But one of the biggest things I ever did in my transformation that I don't always share out loud is I would take myself on dates every single Wednesday. Like actually go sit at a restaurant and go somewhere, and not because I needed to get out of the house, but it was like, how do I want to date me? As if I was able to have any single person reflect back to me the way I wanted to feel. That was huge. So maybe some of you will feel so at peace with not just letting the old go, but maybe having an intimate, and the word intimacy is coming through. You need intimacy with with the next part of you that wants to talk to you, is what it feels like. Like, okay, I know that this is done, or I know that this year is closing. And maybe that future you is like, girl, we want to talk. So I'm going to give you some really cool tools today. But the last thing I wrote down for some of us is gratitude can really shift letting go. And I want you guys to start to see the end as a celebration, not something that needs to be mourned, but based on how you perceive it, some of us are going to feel a type of way about it. So if you ever pick your favorite movie, and in that favorite movie, did it have the ending you wanted to? I'm just curious. Yes. Okay. Now pick a movie that had the word like the shittiest ending. And you were like, I'm never watching that because of the way it ended. Do you have that experience too? It's like the bad breakup, but you're pissed because you spent 2 hours and you're like, that didn't go right. So that's what I mean by we have to identify, now that we've gotten some cues on what we're proud of and what needs integrated. The next part of this is to get some self-reflection on what does the end mean to me? Because even with us on this call, I guarantee we have different feelings about it. So I'm going to give you just a moment to then ask yourself the question, what does the end mean to me? And then I'm going to see if you are willing to share or not. But just first responses or feelings. If you could also tap in, I want you to tap into more than just definitions of the mind. I want you to tap into the feeling. Like, what does it feel like when I say the end? And your brain might go, well, the end of what? A relationship? The end of the year? The end of the hour? Like, endings are actually happening every single moment of our lives. We're just not aware of it. We just become attached to certain things. And when they end, that's when we seem to notice the most. Does that make sense? So if anyone is on this call and is aware of the work I do with just human design and gene keys, you know that we're talking about gene key 42. If you have it in your chart, great. If you do not, this is going to be really powerful for you to think about. So while asking the question, what does the end mean to me? I want you to look at a couple things. What definition shows up in your mind? What feeling shows up? What assumption? This is the good one. This is where transformation actually happens. What is the assumption that shows up when someone says this is the end? Is it like, oh, great, here we go again? Or, oh, shit, seriously? Like, or is it really positive? Like, this is the end? So I want you to think about what is the assumption you create? And I'm going to give you just a minute to answer these questions. I guess I'm just trying to say go deep because you can actually transform a lot of information on this call with me if you're ready. So I'll give you just a minute. The end. And while you're thinking, I'm going to invite you, if it feels necessary, to separate. Like I just had an awareness. Letting go or the end means a lot of different things, right? Like in relationships or businesses or career. So if something comes up in your mind and letting go means a bad thing when it's specific to relationships or when it's specific to something, write that down so I can help you with that. Okay. So let's talk about that for just a minute. So Tracy, Miss Tracy, do you want to share with us, girl? Look,
Yeah.
I don't know who's on YouTube. I just pray like when you watch this, you're not like, why should I get special attention? Because I can see her. So show up on Zoom. Go ahead.
The end to me it kind of brought up like the unknown, the void, open like space, which kind of felt scary and sad and uncertain.
Ooh, okay.
And I think because I tapped into relationships as soon as you
Mm,
said that. So I
mhm.
attached all of this and I was grateful at the end that you said what is it specific to because I was watching relationships as I was doing this. So my assumption is that I've done something wrong or something went wrong. And then
Mhm.
it's like a lot of questions.
Oh, a lot of questions. Okay, thank you for being so willing to be seen, number one, and vulnerable, number two, because most people I've talked about this for a lot, like a lot. Most people actually identify with you nailed it to the team. Most people watching this recording are going to say, yes, me too, me too. So most people actually assume that the end means I did something wrong. It means something about me, and it's very personal, which is what you said you needed to integrate. Yes. Okay. Am I combining thoughts that don't go together, or does that seem true? Like
Oh,
you're
that's,
making it personal.
yes, that's true.
Okay, so most of us in this world, for some reason, we have been taught that when something ends, it's our fault. And I'm going to go deeper and say it's not our fault, but we think it's very personal. Okay, are you guys willing for me to tell you like a lot of what I've learned about this and it'll change your life if you let it? Okay, so, and I'm going to actually share with you my answers and show you the difference of like the bridge so that we can cross the bridge at the end of the training. So you know where we're going, okay? So I wrote down the same questions. What is my definition? What are the feelings, the assumptions? So I wrote down the end is completion. It's ta-da! See, it's done. I wrote down celebration. That means it's the end, so it's time to celebrate. I wrote down dopamine reward. Like it's an actual reward, like chores get done and it's like, yes, it's done. It's the end. I wrote down for relationships, I wrote down it means expansion. That means there's new people I need to meet. That means there's new souls I'm going to come into contact with. I wrote down it means purpose fulfilled. And I wrote that because I thought, what if my career ends like tomorrow? It was like, oh, then that would just mean my purpose was fulfilled. And then it went deeper and it was like, even the end, when you go to the end of your life, it just means, so with worth, I wrote down, it just means I'm at full capacity. My worth, you can't take away from it. It's the end. Like my worth is non-negotiable. So so I say that, Tracy, not to make you wrong, because I started where you were and I actually cried a lot about it. So let me tell you how I got there. I cried a lot about it because, like you, if something didn't meet my expectation or the way I thought it was going to go, and then it suddenly abruptly ended, it was a direct stab to my worth. And it was a direct stab to I must not be enough. It's actually the I'm not enough button for a lot of people. Does that relate at all? Like either the, yeah,
Yes. Thank you.
okay. This is so good. So the reason this is so powerful is because the reason you feel this way, and I could be wrong, so I'm curious to hear your guys' input. But true or false, how many classes, masterminds, courses, books, teachers, gurus, and meditations are actually talking about the end that you have personally been to? And you're allowed to talk as much as you want to, Tracy, by the way. I like engagement. You're saying none. So she's saying none. So think about that, you guys. And then I want you to add your age into this for just a minute, because technically some of you have completed the end of a lot of ages that other people haven't been through yet, right? Like I teach mostly women that are in their 40s and 50s. They're usually 20 years older than I am because I'm an old soul. And that's perfect. I love it. And how many hours of YouTube University, listen to this podcast, let me hype you up. How many people actually talk about the end? And I didn't even add the nuance here. When they do, what do you usually hear? I'm curious. What do you usually hear when someone says the end? I'm gonna help you remove all the conditioning right now. So just get it out if you need to, whether you want to go unmute or mute. Put it in the chat if you want to. I'll speak some for us. Like it's the end. So I'm gonna go talk shit on my boyfriend. It's the end. That girl broke up with me. She was a horrible person. When we talk about the end, ironically, we feel all of our emotions and we channel it into what went wrong because we just said something went wrong, right? Do you relate to that at all, Tracy? Yeah. Okay. What did you want to say? I know you have your voice wants to say something.
Well, I'm just getting what you're saying more now. Yes. Yes, that feels true.
Uh-huh.
Hmm.
Yeah, like I mean, it's almost more normal sometimes for consciousness to talk about all of the places it went wrong and where it ended, but not because they're teaching you that endings are normal and to be celebrated, but because they're teaching you the opposite, which is why you think it's personal. They're like, oh, this ended for me, and society in a general is like reflecting to us, oh, you must have been the reason it ended. And I want to separate something right now really clearly. And if you're a kinesthetic learner like me, I need to use my hands. I'm a weird teacher like that. So literally in one hand, I want you to put your worth and your identity in one hand, literally, and hold it. And then in your other hand, I want you to put like the cycles of life in this hand. So when you think of cycles, I want you to put winter and summer and spring and put it in this hand. And when you marry them, you get confused because when summer ends, what's the next season after summer? I'm not going to answer that because I get confused. I'm like, is it spring? I think it is. But if it's fall, no, it's spring. Okay, so my point is when the season ends and your identity is attached, when I say identity, I want you to think of all your self worth. When all of your self worth over here is connected to the cycles and seasons of life and they're together and they're not supposed to be, you assume that when it's time to enter winter or the next season and the previous one ended, because they're connected, you assume it's because I did something wrong. They don't go together. There's like how life works, and then there's us inside of the life. But because we're inside of life, we think that they're married and they don't belong together. So we need to break them up. Does that make any sort of sense, what I'm communicating? So there's cycles that are happening that come to a natural end. For example, we just closed out November, but you didn't have a heart attack about that. I hope. Unless you're like, no, it's December. Okay. What else has naturally ended that you have never given a thought to? Like never, because you're so busy living life.
Just like even the day, right? The day or a
Yeah,
class or anything like that.
that is a really good point. I'm glad you said that because I was thinking about like a workout. So if a workout never ended or a day never ended, I don't know that we would love life. Like genuinely, we'd be like, is this ever going to end? Right. So now let's look at little tiny things that come to an end. Tasks get completed all of the time, right? What else gets completed? Conversations through a text, they get completed all of the time. There's lots of things that end, right? And sometimes the end isn't clear, so we don't look at it as an end because it's full cyclical. For example, this might be really out there, but that's okay. So when you go and you fill up your car with gas and you're at full and then it returns back down to empty, that cycle is complete. You use that full tank, it's done. That doesn't mean you can't go get more. But for some reason, humans are funny and they're like, I ended it. I can't go get more. And I'm saying because it ended, that is a sure sign that there is even more. Do you get where I'm going with this, you guys? Is it a little weird? Cool. So now we have to look at the healing of this because we can make it exciting, but I do want you to have a direct healing experience of this. So let's choose the one thing in our mind, whether you write it or just really get centered in your body. What's the one thing that ended that you need to forgive so that we can rewrite the story for a happy ending? So if I were to give you the most recent of my awareness, and it's so funny, it's so old, but it just shows up. When I felt the way that you're describing the end is when my second relationship, I went through a second divorce, and when that ended, it shattered my entire inner world. Okay, like a divorce does. However, the ending was looking back, it was necessary, but the way I told the story of the end is what hurt, not the actual ending. So what I mean by that is if I tell you the empowered story today, the empowered story is going, nobody wants to sign up in this life and be like, I was divorced by the age of 25. Nobody is ever going to like be like, oh, and I did that twice. That's why I'm an old soul. I have more experience than you can imagine. But the way I told that story is why the ending sucked. But if I take out all of the pain and the suffering, I can tell you that was the best thing because looking back, I'm like, I went to Bali after that. I started my career after that. I left religion after that. I was reborn after that. I had my new love show up after that. Everything I wanted was on the other side of what had left. Okay, so I'm trying to help you guys recall a memory in your brain that is hurting you because somewhere in the story you have assumed that the thorn bush or the barbed wire around it was the end. But it's not the end that hurts you. It's the way that you're telling the end, like the end of your movie. So you're directing this and you're showing us the movie and we're like, oh, that's a bad ending. We don't want to watch. So I'm trying to help you. Do you guys have a memory that's showing up that shows up for you? And you totally don't have to. Oh, I see this. Cool. See the chat. Did you want to say something, Tracy?
I just have a question. So I've
Mhm.
alchemized my store, like I have something in mind and I have alchemized it a lot, but I still tend to go back to this like,
Uh-huh.
what if, or like, isn't there more,
Mm.
like feeling like there's still an energy there. So what do you do with that?
Oh, I love that. Okay. So this I'll speak from experience and then I'll ask you a question because I never like to tell people what it could like I don't want to give you the answer. I want you to find the answer. So in my experience, let's use my divorce since we're just throwing it all out on the table. That energy connection was totally still there. I know exactly how that feels because I'm like, we can't be done. You're my liver. Like you're all the things. So I'll tell you what happened for me and then I'll ask you the question. When that was happening, I was in denial that it was the end. So I was actually keeping the aliveness there because I didn't want the end. Because who the hell wants an end when they think it's their most epic love story yet? No one. A little girl who doesn't know there's an even better, more epic love story happening. So I don't know if that's what's happening for you. So I'll ask you a question. Does it feel like there's resistance, even though one part of your brain knows it's the end? There's the heart, which is not the same as the head, and the heart says, but I know it's not the end.
Yes. That.
Okay. So I'm a weird coach, and I'm going to tell you what I would tell my younger self and then tell you. And I say weird because it's not what you've probably been told before. So when I was doing my inner work, I had a lot of well-meaning people tell me to rewrite the story, let it go, cut the cords, do your energy work. But then it dawned on me, if the love is still alive in my heart, who says it has to be the end? And I know this is weird, but what I'm actually telling you might just be the best or worst advice you've ever heard, which is love even more. Like just because we love doesn't mean we have to let go. Or let me say it differently. Because we love, it doesn't mean that we have to act on it. I think that's where humans are funny. Like, for example, let's go back to the movie analogy. You love that favorite movie and you go back to it when someone asks you that because it made such a big impact on your emotional body. If it didn't, it wouldn't be your favorite. So you recall it. You recall it because you're like, that impacted me so freaking much. I have goosebumps when I think about the movie. Do I watch it every day? No. Do I want to watch it every day? No. But when I recall the memory of the past, I want to feel the feeling I felt when I first watched the movie. So all your brain is doing is going, we shouldn't feel this way. And your heart's like, oh, but babe, we do. And so when your heart feels that way, the way that I helped heal that was brain, every time you want to recall the movie of your ex-husband, feel it, love him, kiss him, bless him, stay in love until it no longer needs to be the movie that you recall. And over time, you watch it enough and you're like, oh, I know how this movie goes. I know how this movie goes. But you don't have to force the end. I think that's the biggest thing I want to say. Did that help you at all? Yeah.
Tremendously. Yes, thank you. And the word denial like circled on my paper because I love that you called that out because sometimes we just won't call that out in our own self and
Mm-hmm.
it's
Mm-hmm.
simple. So thank you for calling that.
You're welcome. My gene key is bluntness. It's my life's work. So I tend to attract those that are like, I want the truth, straight shoot. And those that don't, I'm like, I'm really not trying to offend you. So thank you. But yeah, sometimes we are in denial of the end because again, this is okay, full circle, back to you, because you were vulnerable enough to share. Back to you. When you, this is so powerful. When you are in denial of the end, and we all go through this, including me. When we're in denial of the end, we feel those feelings, like you said, because we don't want the uncertainty. These are your words: uncertainty, unknown, and the void. I don't want those feelings. So I don't want to feel that. So I'll stay connected to you instead because that other stuff is really scary. Like what's in the unknown? Does that make sense? I see your eye. You're like, oh.
Now I see it and it feels yucky. Yeah, because I in that well because in that I feel like I am attaching to them without their want of that, right? And I don't like people to do that with me. So it's like an attachment that is unwanted on both ends. It doesn't feel good, right?
Ooh, I love this so much. Okay, so don't shame yourself because you're actually just naturally helping us progress the conversation. So everyone give Tracy a round of applause when you watch this because she was here live. So I want you guys to understand, I'm going to go into gene keys for just a moment because I did tell you this is going to change your life moving forward in 2026. But we have to do a little bit of reflection going backwards to move forward. So, gene keys, if you're familiar or not, is the ability to show you your energy inside of your body. And it's the ability to help you understand yourself at a really deep level. I'm not going to go into all of that here, but I want you to know when I say gene keys, I want you to hear, oh, that's my gift. Or when I say gene keys, I want you to hear, oh, I have that genetic imprint, or I have that at a DNA or a soul level. However you hear it is perfect. But what's happening at a very scientific level is that there is particles, mass particles. If anyone studies manifestation or quantum physics, This is why I am so obsessed because they're not separate ideas. They're actually the same. Human design is just language around those particles. That's it. That is it. You are literally an electromagnetic field. Like, light your shit up all the way, baby. I teach people like brighter, not dimmer, brighter. Okay. Glad we got that out of the way. So these particles are literally imprinting your personality, but it goes beyond your personality. So gene key 42, if you have it in your chart, you'll know because you're going to go to mybodygraph.com. I will put it in the chat, mybodygraph.com. Or you can download the Human Design app. So, Tracy, I'm curious, do you have gene key 42? Oh, you're muted, babe.
I'll have to look. I don't have it pulled up yet.
Okay, no worries. So for those that are in school or on YouTube, when you look at your chart, if you have 42, gene key 42 has different levels to the gift. So in the lowest frequency, it's actually all about expectations. Most of us who are not familiar with this work live in expectations. So that means you probably have been living in a world where things don't go your way. And when they don't go your way, you can't understand why. And so you're like, I must be the problem. That's the most simple way to put it. Like Tracy and I were discussing, like, this ended, it must mean something personally about me, right? Expectations is just the lack of awareness that life moves in rhythm and in cycles. And if you want to get out of expectations, there is a part of you that needs to admit that you're a little bit attached to life looking a certain way. Okay. So the next way to explain gene key 42, and you said it perfectly, was attachment. So the reason we have expectations is because we're attached. So I'm going to ask a question for the group to contemplate. Why do we get attached to things? So it's interesting because I've never actually asked myself this question. So I'm going to pause for a minute. I have an answer for you, but I'm like, what do I believe about that? Do you ever like sometimes, okay, I need to focus. Do you ever sometimes listen to a coach or a trainer and you're like, wow. And then you're done teaching and you're like, wow, I wish someone would ask me those questions. It's like, damn, it's like I get jealous of myself. Got a little bit of multi-personality. Okay, so why do we get attached? Because if you think about it, you're not Velcro. Like genuinely think about it. It's kind of weird. Like psychologically, we know all the answers, right? Like I don't feel good enough, all that. But like if you look at our physical world, like nothing sticks to you. Like even when you put on makeup, like you really do have to put on some things to make it stay. Like think about the effort that goes into attaching something. Can anyone, let's use examples because images tend to really help us shift in the subconscious mind if we can pull up images. So I might put you on the spot too, Tracy, but I want you guys to think of all of the things that are attached that need to be attached. For example, my ears are attached to my head. They probably should be that way. I've got body parts that are attached to each other. What other things are attached that are healthy? Because attachment is not wrong, right? Like we put screen protectors on our phones, we put cases on our phones. Where are we combining things for an attachment? I know I don't think about, oh, you're muted if you do want to talk. I see you thinking. And you can be thinking out loud.
So you're wanting to know where things should be attached, right? That's your
Yes.
question.
Yeah. Should or should not either. I'm wanting the brain to grab images because if we can run with images, you'll be like, oh, I shifted that in 2 hours. I don't have homework. No homework
Um,
happens.
well, like a bridge from one end to the other should be attached
Perfect.
to something. Uh,
Yes.
if you're going to rappel, you need to attach your rope to something.
Or we're in trouble. Mm-hmm.
Trouble. Um,
I love this.
your wheels need to be attached to your vehicle. All parts
Mm-hmm.
on your vehicle need to be attached, right?
Yeah, there's so much. Yes.
A
Like you
deck
think
to
about,
the house.
oh, true. And what about cords to like even our curling irons and our things like that? Like you can't actually plug it into the wall. It doesn't work physically.
Right.
Okay, so I'm so curious now to see if you actually have the gene key because here's what's happening in my brain And for all those rewatching, you're welcome. So Tracy, notice how fast she's able to pick up attachments. And where I'm like stalling, I'm like, got nothing. Okay. Here's what's cool because the highest gift of Gene Key 42 is actually detachment. So I am more consciously aware in my world of things that shouldn't be attached and detachment. I have this gene key. So I'm just curious. This would be a perfect example of someone who may or may not have this gene key. Tracy, if you do have the gene key, then that would tell me nothing, just that you're excellent at seeing that quick. And if you don't have it, that would tell me, oh, this is needing some reframing so that you can be more detached and have permission to be more detached. Does that make sense?
Yes, I'm going to grab my paper because it's right here.
Okay, grab it. You're totally good. So I guess the point in sharing all of that is I want to get back to the core, right? Because I can entertain you, but I want you to actually transform. So if Gene Key 42 is all about detachment, and let's be very clear, detachment is one of the highest gifts that you can have in this lifetime, but not everybody has that skill. So I will just expose my world and not tell you how your world needs to look. But for example, when I meet people who are attached in relationships, because that's a hot subject, when those friendships are attached to me, I can feel it. And I will tell you what I do. I tend to create more space because at a soul level, I need the space and the detachment that feels like detachment to me feels like air. Okay. I'm not going to make it wrong for you, but to me, detachment is, it feels like air. It's like two birds, right? They're not on top, one bird's not on top of the other saying, do all the flying for me, please. Right. And the other bird's like, damn, I'm exhausted. No, 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 no. Birds are like, dude, if I'm attached to you and I put like a rock around the bird's ankle, that bird ain't going nowhere. That to me is what it feels like. But I'm going to invite you to write down, what does attachment actually feel like? And don't make yourself wrong. Okay. Because whether it's light or heavy, like Tracy used the word, that feels really gross. I don't want to be attached to them. I'm going to help you reframe that if you're willing. May I help you reframe that? Because the fastest way to get out of attachment is to just look at it differently. Is that cool?
Yes, thank you.
In order to help you reframe that, and for everyone else going through a similar journey, I have to ask you a question. And you don't have to answer, but I need some clarity on this. Is the attachment because something in you does not feel complete?
That's,
Mm-mm.
I don't know.
It's my sacral say no. I'm a sacral. That's not true. Okay, that's
No.
good. Are you, oh, okay. This is a better clarifying question. And this is what I want you guys to look at for yourselves. Are you attached to the feeling or are you attached to the person?
The feeling?
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so when we're attached to feelings, I don't think that's wrong. Genuinely. So when your brain says we shouldn't be attached, you're not because what's the are the feelings like happy and joyful and like all of that? Yeah, you're like, yes, okay. So it's the feeling. So do you remember when I started this Zoom? This is why I wrote it. Now I know why. I like to circle things. See, this is the end. I wrote down maybe some of you to end 2025 need to go on a date with yourself, or you need to have a new intention, or you need to feel the feeling of what it is that you're going to miss and create it for yourself. So I'm going to invite you specifically, Tracy, write down the feeling with that memory, that person, not the person, but the feeling. And we're going to feel it together. We're going to feel it. So I'll give you an example. So when I was going through my divorce and I was super attached to him and he was very destructive for me and very abusive and neglecting and all the things, I kept attaching to him. And I had it. Yeah, this is why you have to know yourselves, guys. This training is like, yes, it's helpful, but this is like just one little nuance, right? Like we have so many parts of us in our big universe, and no parts are wrong. I think the biggest thing I can teach you, if you ever come into my space, is you're not broken. You don't need fixing. Nothing is wrong with you, and all you need is more love. That's it. Like that is my philosophy. I tend to go deeper than that. But that's it. That's the whole thing. Nothing's wrong with you. But you don't believe me if I can't help you reframe the parts of you that are like, oh no, we're broken because look at this. And I'm saying that ending. So I want to help you reframe that ending gave you a new beginning. So I need your brain to either write it down, put it in the chat, or keep it to yourself and keep it private. What are all of the things that you got when that ended? What are all of the blessings you received when that ended? Like, I gotta go to Bali, guys. Why did I have to get divorced? I'll tell you, because I was literally manifesting for 6 months that I was going to be this like goddess woman and have my epic love story. And I thought it was him. No, he couldn't hold that frequency. Got it. Cool. So, what are the golden nuggets in the end? You had an oh my gosh, yes. Okay, what was it? May I ask? May I?
Yeah. So first, like the feeling I would feel was empowered and seen. And
Yes.
in the end, so the ending gave me everything that I think I'm wanting back in that space. And I literally already have it. I have created
Yes.
my business, a group of people, a group of women, and more client. Like I would have never done what I have done if I would have stayed in the space with the
Mm,
people I miss.
I have
Ever.
goosebumps. Keep going. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I just said ever. I just wouldn't have. I would have stayed small, like you said, and seen
Mhm.
maybe by this small group of people, but not by myself. I wouldn't have seen myself.
Yes. Okay. And I love you can't make things up on Zoom. You can make things up on Zoom. But your facial expression right there, it was like, okay, so the reason I love Zoom and teaching it this way is because when you started it and you're like, oh, that feels gross, you naturally actually went full circle to the end. Now you're back at the end. You're at the same experience and she went full around. She hit, this feels gross. This feels like attachment. This feels wrong. Okay, I'm in denial that it's the end. Okay, I see it was the end. I'm no longer in denial. What did I get from the end? And then she's back at the starting point. Did you see how that happened?
Yes,
Okay,
that's incredible.
that I have goosebumps. I'm like seriously in love with this conversation. So what you naturally just did without trying, by the way, this is why I know this works. She didn't have to go fix herself and put herself in 20 million years of counseling, and that's not wrong. But what I'm trying to help you guys understand is that detachment, since it's a gift, you can detach as soon as you ask the question, what did I get from the end? Because if you can find the gain, you will always feel like you're winning. You will always feel like you're winning. I do want to hit on the psychological reasons on why people do get attached, though, if that's okay. So, because a lot of people and gurus and experts don't talk about the end being really healthy and exciting and really natural, we feel wrong instead of realizing, no, in a few hours, guys, the sun is going down and it is the end of the day. Now I have two options. I can be in denial about that, drink a glass of coffee and freaking go all night. Or I can be like, yes, sun is going down. Why don't I work with the cycle and know that when that cycle closes, it has nothing to do with me. So I want to give you my two hottest, yummiest, delicious beliefs I have around the end so that you can see that if you choose to believe this, that you really will move into a heightened state of awareness. And honestly, quite honestly, you'll find joy. Because, like Tracy said, she realized after all of that, like, and not to take away her experience, I'm sure there was pain and there was all these details we don't know about. But at the end of the day, she says, I found me. I have more of me. In fact, more of me. I'm seeing more. I have more like all this stuff. Okay, so the reason we get into unhealthy attachments, other than the reason it's not being talked about, so nothing's wrong with you, we just don't talk about it. The other thing is we get attached because this gene key, and I'm talking to gene keys only, but it feels very psychological, is we're taught that if we can attach something like, I see a lot of people in my world that are attached, clients actually that come to me are really attached to their success. And they're so attached to their success that they can't fathom a world where they're not successful or they're not like crossing over millions of dollars. Like they're just so attached to this identity of success because here's why we get attached. Here's the one liner because we think it's going to add value to ourselves. It's going to add value to ourselves. When I cross the $1 million, when I have the lover of my life, when I. So the bigger problem, in my opinion, of expertise is that we're in denial that there is an end. So guess what that does? Okay, this is really crazy, but follow me for a minute. If humans naturally resist the ending, that actually keeps your nervous system in a state of chasing because you never got to the end. Okay, this is deep, but I trust you're here for it because dude, that's just who I am. If you are never allowed, okay, so I'm going to take you back to an hour ago. We've cruised a lot, I know. An hour ago, I asked you, what does the end mean? Right? And some of you were like, well, the end feels really scary and dark. And some of you are like, the end feels really shitty. It means I'm a horrible person. And some of you are going to write on a paper like, the end, not doing the chapter homework. And some of us are like, I love the endings. But I didn't get there without recognizing, wait a minute. If I hate the end and the end means I'm a failure, will you guys actually write that one last? I didn't have you do that, and I'm sorry. What does the end mean about you? It means I'm a what? For me, I just told you what mine was. The end means I'm a failure.
Say that one more time.
So the end, so when the ending happens, whether it's relationships, health, pick your thing. When the end shows up and it ends the way you didn't want it to, what does that mean about you? And your brain will say, it means I'm a blank. So for me, it's, oh, that relationship ended. I'm a failure. Because I grew up in a world that taught me marriage is forever. There's never an end to it, no matter what. Okay, it's not anyone's problem, but it was mine at the moment. So you have to look at what it means about you so we can change it today on this call. So we can change it. And I'll give you just a second if you need one.
Well, I feel like I've alchemized this now in this call. Like, I don't even want to write anything I used to feel about this. If I'm looking at this one
Yeah,
situation,
yes.
and it's like all alchemized to a different state where it doesn't mean anything about me now. It
Uh-huh.
actually just means, yeah, like when I was looking at the end before, I was thinking that it meant I wasn't good enough to be in this space, or maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm too overwhelming for them or whatever. But now it just feels like it isn't about me. It means like I really am to come back to me and keep empowering me. And when I feel that feeling,
Yes.
like I'm to bring that feeling in to empower me, not to attach to them.
Mm. Okay, you just now if y'all heard what she said, because some of you are gonna be like, why did she name the title of this masterclass that? I'll tell you why. Because the end is just the beginning, what she just now assumed. So I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounded a lot like, well, it's cool. Like I'm just more empowered. That's different than saying it just means there's a new beginning. So I'm going to ask you to go one step farther so that this can really integrate in your nervous system if you're willing. So I'm going to have you tap on your collarbone or tap on your body somewhere, but I want your body to be involved in the process. So I now see, and you can repeat it to yourself or say it out loud. But for those watching the recording, I'm going to invite you to say it out loud. So I now see that the ending of anything is really just an exciting beginning. I now see that the ending is natural. Endings are normal. There are cycles of life that end. And now that I see that the end has nothing to do with me, I now train myself. So keep tapping on your body. I now see that the end is really just a celebration. I now assume that every end always works out for me, always expands me, One of my favorite beliefs to have, and you guys can really let this sink in if it serves you. I now believe that the end is the next flight to my horizons. I now see that the ending is not about loss, it is about gain. So I want you to feel that loss is not related to the end. Loss is not required when something ends. So I want you to now feel the truth of your body. So tell your body, we now believe, we now believe that every ending is an increase. That's my belief. Every ending is an increase. I have goosebumps. Do you guys feel it? I feel goosebumps. Every ending is an increase. An increase for me. And if you guys are people lovers, because I'm a freaking people lover, I want to stay married to every person I ever meet ever. Seriously, like 20 years ago, I'm not even saying Brianna, but I still love you. So because I'm a people lover, I like to have the belief that you guys can, you guys can stop tapping when you're ready. I like to believe that my new definition, I'm going to invite you guys to believe if it serves you, is that every ending is an increase for myself and the other because nobody loses. That's what keeps the energy really clean. That's what keeps the energy really like wholesome. And they're allowed to have worth. I'm allowed to have worth. I'm allowed to be sovereign. They're allowed to be sovereign. I'm allowed to be me. They're allowed to be me. Why it ended is going to be up to the stories we tell ourselves, right? So there is some storytelling involved, as always, right? Like when you go to bed at night, you have a choice to say, man, that day ended shitty. Or you have the choice to say, that day ended amazing. But the ending is coming, whether you like it or not. So I'm training you to like it, to look forward to it. Um, I don't know why. Okay, we're perfect. We're perfect on time. So I want you guys to now believe that every ending is an increase for myself and the other. So now friend breakups, they're easy. Romance breakups, they're easy. Why? Because I choose to believe it's an increase. Here's why, and here's where I started to believe this. For those that don't have Gene Key 42 and never get into this work, that's okay. But you have enough evidence for those that are investigators, my cute Tracy, profile 5-1. For those that need evidence of facts and want to see the evidence of what is around us, look at nature because nature does not lie. So seasons are going to come and go and end. The sun is going to rise and then the moon will come and it will end. Like our days are going to end. Our time is going to, there's so many things that come to an end, but the end just means there's a new beginning. I'm going to go deeper. Some people believe in reincarnation. Some people believe in immortality. I definitely know there is life after this body. I know it like I freaking know immortality is real. But other people don't have that belief, and that's okay. But when you know that, then you're not going, why did that end? Because I'm a 30-year-old woman not thinking kindergarten should have never ended. I'm like, I would never go back to that. So when you feel like you're attached to something, we now know what to ask, right? If we feel there's an unhealthy attachment, we can go and ask the question. Hold on, I have to remember what I told you to write down. Do you remember, Tracy? I'll put you on the spot. Oh, if we're attached to something, it's because we don't want to face the unknown or we're in denial of it. And it also means we're making it mean something about our worth. Okay, so if we're attached to something, the question to ask, and I know I've repeated myself a lot, but it's because it's deep and not everyone got to process their own stuff on this call, but you will, is to ask the question when you're attached to something, what did I gain from the end? What do I gain from the end? So when I shifted out of my career, I was in a whole nother community and went and helped them build for like 2.5 years. And my soul, oh guys, I had so many endings in my life. My soul knew that where I was going is going to require this chapter to close. And I hadn't done this work yet. I hadn't done it at all. So I procrastinated speaking my truth. I procrastinated telling people where I was going. I started hiding. So I want to add this other part. If you feel like you're used to hiding, it's not always because you feel incompetent. And it's not always because you feel like other people are making you wrong. Sometimes we hide because we don't know how to have crucial conversations, especially the ones we haven't had with ourselves. So tonight on this call, what you're really doing is you're learning how to have a real honest conversation with yourself on what needs to end because you want the beginning of something else so freaking bad. So I want you to imagine that you're like so sick of the spaghetti, but you keep pretending that you want the spaghetti when really you want the donut after dinner. You can't have the donut until you're done with dinner, so just be done. Just be done. But we forget that we're not kids. We're all really just babies as an adult. That you really do. That's why I wrote down in the beginning. Some of us to close out 2025 need to give ourselves permission to close and to be done with the same meal that we're actually really not enjoying anymore. Is that okay? Is that okay that we just change our meal and we see it as an increase and we're like, donut, please. No more spaghetti. So I want you to see the end as not just a beginning, but what if, I really like to ask what if questions because it's provoking. What if the end was just ordering a new, like ordering off of the menu of the universe? Like, what if that's all the end was? And you're like, universe, I can't let this dude go because I thought that, I thought all these things and I thought it's going to look a certain way. And the universe is like, yeah, but you have 20 billion other men you can choose from. And I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, let him go. I'm going to put in my new order. But some of us just need permission to let go. Okay. So I'm going to bring this back to Gene Keys and then we'll move into the next part. So are we clear that Gene Keys and Gene Key 42 and specifically this masterclass, are we all aware that attachment doesn't have to be wrong? In case we're not going to shame ourselves if we're attached. And when we see that the end is actually really special, we know how to manifest. So I wasn't sure if I was going to go into this, but I'm going to with you guys. So Neville Goddard, does anyone know him? Okay. Neville Goddard, and I teach this in Universal Law inside of Universal Love Academy. But he talks about so get this. Forget everything I said and like really write this down. Because when you believe this, you'll be like, this is such a weird concept. Creation is already finished. Creation is already finished. So then I'm like, well, that can't really be that powerful. Like, that's it. Give me some more. And then I realized, okay, what does that mean? That means creation is already complete. Okay, creation's already complete. Think about that. Like, you guys go into the forest and you're like, the forest is not complete. I mean, maybe there's things growing, but growing is not the same as complete. Like, the landscape is already complete. So Neville Goddard, I'll just get to the point. He says that creation is already finished. Creation is already complete. That means human beings already live in the end. Okay? They already live in the end. How do we know that? Because I'm going to use the word God because I totally believe in God, but you choose your language. Because God already created all the things that we see with our eyes, naturally. Like, it's here. I didn't create the laptop and it's here. It's complete. Someone completed it. I didn't. So there are things that you get to literally enjoy just because they're complete and not because you earned it. I think this is the fastest way to help someone's worth shift. Like, I get really fiery about this conversation because too many women, especially women, men too, right? If you're on YouTube and you're a man, totally chime in, but still, too many people are taught that their worth is dependent on how well the ending went of something, right? Like, when your kids are grown, are they doing all the things we expect them to do? That result, that pressure, the end of that result is directly put on your worth. True or false? I
So
mean,
true.
yes. Okay, what other things do I would actually love to bring you into this passion? What other things do we get pressure from based on the end result? Grades, performance, marriages. Did you keep him happy? Did you do your duties? Hey, what else? I'm like, okay, so we literally are taught not to talk about endings. And then when they happen, society's like, damn, we don't really approve of that finished result. And you're like, oh, so it's a me problem. And then, of course, you believe when we started this masterclass, it's a you problem. Now, do you guys see what the actual problem is? Your belief in what you believe around the end is the problem. Okay? What you believe. about the end is the bigger problem. So we know the end happens. We covered that. We didn't really talk about the fact that humans already live in the end. How do we know that? Like, that's a really deep concept. I'm not going to lie. I'll be really honest with you. A lot of my clients have a hard time digesting that, and that's okay. The fastest way I like to say that is look around you and start to observe what is already complete that can train your human body that you didn't complete it. It's already complete, and you just happen to be the benefit of it. So society taught you to hurry and get to the end to show your results, to go, ta-da, and then they'll judge you for it. And I might be being a pessimism here, and sorry about that, but that's how I saw it. But look at the sky. The sky is complete. It does not need more like anything added to it. You can't take away from it. It can change, right? The clouds can end, the weather can end, but the sky itself is complete. Would you guys agree with that? Like it's finished creation. So now ask your brain, because it's one thing if I believe it, I want you to believe it. Where is creation already complete? What else is already complete? I want you to think about this for a minute, literally. What else is complete that you're like, oh, that's complete. Oh, that's complete. Like my office desk, it's done. Like it's complete. But nature's probably more prevalent to the things that we can actually gain evidence from. So for example, in asking that question, I should probably let you guys know the actual completion that I want you to wrap your head around is you. Most people don't actually believe that they're complete. And that's the craziest thing about it, is because when you don't believe that you're actually complete and you believe that you're somehow like incomplete, that is where the attachment is bred. That is where we have like some really interesting behaviors happen, because if I believe I'm not complete without you, then of course I'm attached. I'm way attached to how this ends because my self-esteem, my self-worth, my self-love, everything was outside of me. So the number one reason I brought up Neville Goddard, he is a freaking amazing man, and you can study him on YouTube or listen to me and I'll condense everything he says in like 2 words. But he says creation is already complete. So I want you guys to know why I'm saying that. Because you are also complete. You're complete. You're complete. So if you really believe that you're complete, you would never ever even think thoughts of now I'm broken and flawed. Why? Because you're complete. How do we know that you're complete? Because you just are complete. So now we have to look at, well, what is complete? We're like, there's a lot of that, but I'm going to keep it simple. Creation is complete. The fact that you were created means you are complete. So if you're complete, now your worth is not dependent on a gosh damn thing, literally. Because completion, and this is how I see it, I would love for you to like totally disagree if it doesn't fit you. But I actually have a strong belief that completion is the energy of self-worth. So when people are like, I don't know how to feel self-worth, I've never felt that before. Can you feel complete without the job? Can you feel complete without the man? Can you feel complete without the friends? Because if you can answer yes to all of that, then everything is a what? That's the belief I had to install. Everything is an increase. Things don't feel like an increase when you need them, though. Have you noticed that? If I need you to be my friend, you don't feel like an increase. It feels like you're just getting me to neutral. And that's really exhausting for you as a friend, isn't it? But if I'm already complete and I'm like, if I believe I'm complete and my inner world creates my outer world, then I automatically see you as complete too. So when I have Gene Key 42 and people are like, Breed, like, do you love me? I'm like, dude, I love you so much. Why would you ever ask that? I'm complete. Do you not think you are? Because you need me to be in your world. That's not wrong, babe. It's just that we're allowed to love each other from completion, not that we need to go a certain way for it to complete a certain way. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Okay, so when you believe you're complete and creation is completed, here's what you naturally do. I wasn't going to go over this, but I'm going to. And if you need to jump off at any time, please do. I said I was going to do this for an hour, and then it changed to 2, and then it's just flowing. So if we get done early, we will. But I want to cover at least one other thing, one other topic. I want to tie this into manifestation, because I don't just teach human design and gene keys, because once you know yourself, that's cool. But what about the part where now that I know myself, now I really want to experience the best life has to offer, right? Like we don't want to leave that last part out because we want to increase, there's the word, we want to increase our human experience. But we can't increase our human experience when we're attached to all of this low vibrational stuff. You didn't complete me. You failed me. You're an idiot. You're a moron. You pissed me off. We can't do that anymore. Okay. So we're going to detach from all of that energy. The highest frequency of Gene Key 42, it goes expectations, then it goes detachment. So I taught you detachment's actually really healthy. And then it goes celebration. Celebration is the highest frequency. And I'll tell you why. Because when I asked you to get all of your gold out of your experience, and I said, but what did you gain from it? And you're like, oh, here's all my goodies. You naturally were like, I gained self, for Tracy, it was I gained self-empowerment. For me, it was like I gained this whole new lifestyle, literally lifestyle. So now we go, okay, did we ever take time to celebrate that? Because the fastest way to close out 2025 is to celebrate what was. So the fastest way to let something go isn't by saying, I shouldn't love them, I shouldn't want this, I shouldn't be attached. The fastest way to close a chapter, because I love speed. I hope you do too, because I love some speed. Just love when shit gets done so fast. Don't know why, I just do. Not rush, not hurry, just fast. It's like you're on the freeway, and you're like, I could drive behind grandpa, or I could just hop into the fast lane. Okay, so when you celebrate something, what you're doing is you're acknowledging that it happened. You're acknowledging that life is one big story, and inside of the story, there's many chapters. And when you have the belief that every end and every ending of a chapter is an increase, you're really excited to go to the next chapter. But right now, you might not have loved endings in the beginning of this because you thought every ending was like this nasty, grueling heartbreak, right? Like we're taught it's hard. We literally live in a world where we're like, the ending is actually heartbreak. And if you feel it, well, don't talk about it, okay? Because some of us, we don't want to talk about it. Whatever. So celebration is the way that we're going to show up. So here's what's fun. You have to look at where you're allowed to celebrate. So for me, it used to be birthdays. Tracy, when are you allowed to celebrate?
Pretty much that, just birthdays and, maybe Christmas, some
Mm-hmm.
holidays, like holiday.
Oh,
And maybe for my kids, I celebrate my kids.
yes. Okay, I love this so
I
much.
celebrate myself for much, now that you say that.
You celebrate what?
Don't know that I celebrate myself for much, but I can look and see where I celebrate other people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay, this is goody. This is a goody. So this is the part of class where you get to go as far and as deep as you want, or you get to just observe and watch the replay and not participate in anything. So celebration is, again, let's just look at a spectrum. If you're more used to like disappointment and endings being like a really bad thing, you're going to have to acknowledge the fact that celebration is going to feel also a certain way, right? So for you, Trace, I'll just use you as an example. When the ending felt like an unknown and uncertain, you're not going to choose celebration because you're like, well, are we in the dark celebrating? Like, what's coming, right? But now that you know that every ending is an increase and every ending happens for you, not against you, but for you, when that happens, you're not a victim to the end, and the end is actually serving you. So now we have to ask the next journal question just to identify kind of like where we're at on the spectrum. That sounds funny. Where are we okay celebrating? So on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being I super celebrate every day, every moment, and 1 being like never, because I'm so used to the ending and I don't want it to end, right? Because I'm holding on. By the way, when you're attached to something and you're holding on, I'm going to use my hands because this is beautiful. This is why I use them probably. When you're attached to something, where are your hands? They're gripped. Okay. And if I said, hey, I'm going to give you some pom poms and we're going to celebrate, you're going to be like, I can't grab the pom poms. I effing can't do that. My literal hands are full. It's like when your kid says, hold this, and you're like, do you not see my hands are full? When you're attached, you're literally saying, are you stupid? Like, and I'm going to be blunt because that's how I know how to do it. When someone says celebrate your life and you're attached to all the outcomes, you're literally like wanting to flip them off because you're actually offended by the fact that they're celebrating when you're forcing your worth because you are pressured to see it that way. When you are pressuring and performing for worth and you need the outcome to get the validation and praise, you're not over here going like, who gives a damn? I'm myself, woohoo, right? They're not the same vibration. So when we're in detachment, here's what's cool about detachment. Detachment is hands off. It doesn't mean I don't have a preference. I can be really grumpy and be like, I don't like how you're treating me. Like I can be hands off and still care about the story. Let's be very clear. I can be detached and love my friends so deeply, but I'm not going to like strangle them. And then celebration, it doesn't have to look like pom poms and a cake. So I want us to ask ourselves, what does celebration feel like in our body? What is the definition? What is the feeling? Because if again, celebration is only like holidays and it's Christmas coming up and they stress you out, you might unconsciously associate celebration with like really stressed out, overwhelmed, and frantic. You might even associate it with broke. How much money we got to spend to celebrate? Are you bougie or are you going to be okay with just a few napkins? Like, so I want you to ask yourself, and I'll stop talking so you can answer. What does celebration feel like in my body? And what have I been told about it? So I'm going to give you a minute before I talk. Okay, so I'm going to answer this like for the collective, and then if you want to chime in, Tracy, you can. So most people are taught that they're only allowed to celebrate when they finish something, like from little kids, right? Like make your bed, and then we'll have this reward. Okay, so it's a reward system. So most people in the collective, okay, they're taught that when they finish something or complete something, that's when we celebrate. For example, birthdays are a completion of one full year. So that's where the words are coming from. Notice complete and finish. If your brain doesn't think that creation is finished, you will never let yourself celebrate because you haven't hit the end. And if you hate ends, you're never going to get to the end. So that's like a carrot being dangled out in front of you. And they're like, they said I could have it, but you're never allowed to have it because you're never allowed to get to the end. Does that make sense? So most people don't celebrate. They want to, though. Here's what's crazy psychologically. Psychologically, they want to celebrate so effing bad that they're willing to work 12 hours to get that freaking $100,000 or whatever it is, so that when they hit that milestone, they can celebrate. Okay, this whole masterclass, I've been trying to get you to go through the back door. I'm trying to teach you that you can celebrate for no damn reason because creation's finished. Your worth is non-negotiable and you're complete. You are complete. Creation is complete. That doesn't mean you don't have goals. I'm just trying to help you see this differently. So if you're only allowed to celebrate when you finish something and you complete something, you're always withholding the sensation of a party. Self-recognition, we hold back because we're like, well, why are you recognizing me? I didn't finish or complete something. Usually, right? I'm celebrating you because you're here. I'm celebrating you because you're complete, I'm complete, and we're alive, right? So I'm curious to see what your sensation was, Tracy. Like what rules or what came up for you when you answered like the celebration for you, if you want to.
Yeah, when I thought about celebration, what it feels like in my body, it felt like excitement, it felt like peace, and it felt like joy.
Oh, I love that. So
Yeah,
now you now know that you're allowed to feel all of those happy feelings for literally no reason.
thank you.
So,
Yeah.
and not that you needed that permission, but I love that he showed up for you because I've never actually felt that in my body, literally. I'm like, oh, I've never felt that. For me, because it's a very important part of my human design, I just feel like everybody's hype girl. Like, go. So to me, it just feels like a hype. I love that you said peace because celebration is A really beautiful, peaceful. That's just beautiful. So now
Nervous
here's the,
system too.
what's that?
I think going along with that, it just calms my nervous system. So when I'm celebrating, I'm not in fight or flight. So there is a different peaceful feeling in my body.
Yes. Now it's okay. This is perfect. So because you're on the call, and I'll tell everyone what to do so they get the full circle transformation on this call. And then we'll complete the reflection piece. Okay, so on your paper you wrote down unknown, uncertain, and the void. That's what the end used to mean for you. Cross those words out. You just found the truth, what consciousness has been trying to teach you this whole time. Consciousness has been trying to teach Tracy that when the relationship ended or the thing that hurt ended, you gained peace in your body. You gained all of the words you just gave me. That was that experience. So the end keeps trying to get you to the sensation. I have goosebumps. So I hope all of you watching this call are so I'm like so turned on by truth. You guys know what truth feels like? It's like tingles in your body. So the end for you, the story on how it got to the end might have sucked, right? We don't want to take out the part and be in denial. Okay, denial doesn't serve anyone. But what if the end now feels like peace and all of those other words that you said?
That calms me and my nervous system so much. It actually just feels like a release different.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yes. Uh-huh. So now when a text message shows up and we're not even talking about like discord, we're not even talking about like disharmony, we're just straight talking about like when things naturally end, like the day. I want you to start to reprogram every one of you on this call. Start to teach your nervous system, at least after this call for at least a week. Because I like to integrate things after I learn. I don't know if you guys do. I don't like to give homework. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. Let's just change and then integrate. But the evidence I want you to find, so tonight when you go to bed, Tracy, and for those watching, like, okay, so when you lay your head on the bed and the day is over, I want you to literally like thank you for the ending of this day. It feels like peace. It feels like calm. It feels like all of your words. And then when a relationship ends, not that we ever expect that, by the way, if something shows up and it ends, maybe the ending is just a text message, right? Like, conversation's over. Thank you. Thank you for the ending of this conversation. That felt so peaceful. I just want you to see that the ending is not traumatic. The ending does not mean breakup. The ending does not mean heartbreak. All it really means when the end happens is more worth, more self love, more increase. That's all it means. If people leave our lives, that just means more increase for them and us. It means more self worth because we were complete the whole damn time. We just didn't know it. It means we can be detached because we have worth, complete worth, by the way. We just didn't know it. So anytime something ends and it feels like heartbreak or trauma, we remind ourselves, oh, this is increase. It doesn't feel like it right now, but this is increase. If you can get behind that. How do you guys feel about that? You feeling okay? Yeah. Okay. So the manifestation piece to this that I wanted to go into. So I'm gonna actually energetically close that to show you guys right now. We are done with the conversation of 2025. I trust that if you need to do anything with yourself after this call, you will do it and give yourself that need. But we are going to close that container and we're going to release it. Because now we're going to have the increase of a different conversation before the ending of this call. So the part of this I want to discuss now is the manifestation piece now that everything is complete. So if I am complete as a person, as a human, and I have self-worth, and I have everything I've ever needed, because that's what I've been told, what do I choose to select next? So some of us think that manifestation is a creative process, and it can be. I don't want to confuse you. But for a sake of words, I want to slice the meanings so far apart you can't confuse them. We're co-creators. The very word co means like we're in the airplane with, okay? But sometimes I think, and we can even be the creator. I have a lot of friends that believe like, no, I am the creator. I love that. but I have to separate words for just a minute to help you get the breakthrough. If you believe that manifestation is about creation, then again, you will only celebrate it showing up when it shows up because you'll believe it's not complete yet. Do you get what I'm saying? So, for example, if I'm calling in the perfect love of my life, or if I'm manifesting better relationships, since that's the topic tonight, and I believe that I'm creating all of these new relationships and they're not here yet, by me observing my world and I'm like, they're not here yet, I now assume that my wish is not complete. Do you guys see how that's true? The wish is not complete. So manifestation is not waiting around for things to complete us or waiting around for the universe to complete our desire. Because we just spent an hour and a half talking about how things are already complete. We've just perceived it so wrong. Okay. So what if manifestation was deciding that since I'm complete and I'm just here to enjoy this complete world, right? Literal Earth has already been completed. We don't see her like changing out her pieces like Legos, right? We're like, no, we trust that Earth is like, we trust it's pretty complete. We may not even know the full story. We just know that it's here, it's complete. We know that because gravity and different laws work. So, what if manifestation was actually about selection, not creation? And I know that's weird because it really, just so you guys are clear, I really do believe in creation and think that manifestation is about creation. But when I saw it this way, it made my life so much easier because I wasn't waiting for the completion or the evidence of it. Do you guys get what I'm saying? So I would go and say, I want to create all of these relationships. And then weeks would pass by, months would pass by, and they're not here yet. So then I would assume, oh, they're not here. So because I don't see evidence of it, I must not be a good creator or I'm doing it wrong. Now we're back in the damn cycle. We're doing it wrong. Something's wrong with us and it's not complete. So I guess I'll want it harder. I guess I'll want it more. I guess I'll choke it because I don't know what else to do. Do you guys relate? Neville Goddard says that because creation is already complete, and we talked a lot about movies, all you're doing on the screen of your mind is you're flipping through like a catalog. So what do you choose to select? Oh, I want that. Okay, thank you very much. When you choose to select the image or the thing that you want on your mind, you don't need it to complete you. So here's the difference. When someone doesn't believe they're complete, they manifest because they want something to complete them. It goes against everything we've been talking about. Like even me, I was in a career and I was like, if I can just be better in corporate. Actually, what I really wanted was validation and to be seen. I think most humans just want to be seen. And because they're not seen, they're like, well, if I do this, they'll see me, they'll appraise me, they'll validate me, I'll have what I want, I will be complete. Do you guys see how it goes full circle? So you can do that, or you can believe you're complete and then select based off of the category of the magazine of the thing you want. So when you're flipping through a magazine and you're like, oh, she's so beautiful, and you pause, that's what manifestation is. It's actually nothing more than that. It's like you pause in the magazine and you're like, oh, she's so beautiful. I want that. I want that. So here's what's cool. When many people are visualizing, and I'm actually explaining this because the last thing we're going to do on tonight's call is we're going to decide and manifest the word for 2026. So I know a lot of people like to do vision boards, and there's so many different ways you can go about this. Love that. We'll have a January event as well, once a month. But with this, where I'm going is I want you to create the feeling. So how many of you, Tracy, I'm curious with you as well, how many of you have gone into a new year, not with a goal, but a feeling? Has anyone done that before? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to pick the intention. Most people call it intentions, but I want you guys to create, we're going to create the feeling with everything already complete. So most people start 2026 out with, I'm going to do all of these things to get to the finished product of what I want. And I'm saying, not you guys. No, 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 no. If you're with me, we're playing a totally different revolutionary game. We're going to start with the thing we wanted because it's already complete. And then we're going to live every day out in 2026 because we already have it. And then whenever the hell it shows up, awesome, but we're going to work smarter, not harder. So we're not going to play the dangling carrot game like most people because they're going after something that's not finished in their mind. We're going to start with, it's already complete. because I chose it off the catalog. I know it's complete because if it wasn't complete, it wouldn't even be in the catalog. I want to tell you something crazy. Did you guys know that if your mind can see something, the only reason you can see it is because it exists? You actually can't see what has never been created before. Did you guys know that? You should study the imagination. I'm obsessed with our imaginations. But anyways, so my point is if you can conceive it, you can achieve it. But if you can't conceive it, it's because it's not here yet. Literally. So back to what I was saying. So we're gonna get into the idea. These are all just ideas, but I'm gonna plant the idea in your mind that the ending of 2025 is your increase for 2026. And with the increase, we're going to let this year be the ending that happened for us so that everything we want in 2026 can manifest from completion, not achievement. Now, achievement's not wrong. You know, your girl, like me, I love some good hustle sometimes. Not always, though. And then I'm like, why am I doing this? Remember, we left this world. Okay. So my point in saying that is when you're manifesting, I want you guys, this changed my life. It might not change yours, but when you select it, I'm going to give you one question, and this will be inside of a universal law more. This question changed my life. And the reason it feels applicable is because we are walking into a new beginning. And I'm going to let you journal on this for 5 minutes and then we'll pick an intention. So for the last part of this, I want you to ask the question, what reality exists where I already have blank? What reality, this is going to sound weird, but actually add the word in at the beginning. In what reality? In what reality do I already have blank? I guess it doesn't matter how you say it. To me, it does. In what reality? Because when you ask your brain the question, in what reality, your subconscious mind is going to pull an answer. So guess what you just naturally did by asking that question? By asking that question. In what reality, your brain goes, oh, there's multiple realities. If there's multiple realities, there must be a reality of me who already has all the friends because creation is complete and teaching you how to enter the reality, not try to create something you think isn't complete. And that's really deep. About this. In what reality do I already have blank? So when you ask that question, here's what's cool. So have you ever tried to manifest something and you couldn't feel the feeling of it because you never experienced it? And you're like, they keep telling me to feel it, but I don't actually know what that feels like. So when you ask the question, in what reality do I already have this? When you close your eyes and you let your imagination take you where it wants to go, here's what's cool. It will naturally find the image of you in the reality with it already completely attained, and it will create the feeling for you because it has to find the image. That's how your imagination works. But most people don't really access their imagination because, again, we're over here being so busy to how we think life needs to look and controlling it. So take it for what you want. But I'll give you an example of how this showed up in my life. So I was like, I would love to just create like $10,000. I would love that. And notice the energy of love is not the same as need, right? Because if you need something, you're attached to it. Just so you know, if you're trying to manifest and you need it, it won't come because you're like being that clingy stage 5 girlfriend that's like, the universe is like, okay, dude, just breathe. So what you're actually noticing is that when you say, I would love this, you're tapped into detachment. I would love this or something better. That's detachment. But when you say, I need this, you're attached to what you are manifesting and it will not come because that is not the vibration of completed celebration energy. So you're like, damn it, I need this. And then you're like, okay, I don't believe in manifestation. You know how many times I've quit the manifestation world? Like 20. And then I finally came back when I was like, wait a minute. If I just believe I have self-worth and nothing can actually make me better or worse, I can just have anything I want. Yes. Have you, and here's how I know you know that's true. Find one person. This is going to really make me sound judgmental, but that's okay. Pick one person in your life and look at them and literally pick the person that you are like, wait a minute, they're not as smart as I am. They haven't taken as many courses or know as many things, or they're not. Put yourself on a pedestal for just a minute, because I know we all do it. And I want you to ask the question, why do they have everything I seem to want and I don't? Have you ever done that? But ask the question, why do they have everything I don't? And when I asked the universe that question, I got a big smack on the face or in the head, but regardless. And it was because you tried too hard and they don't. And I cried in the shower because the trying was like grinding. And it was like my health was suffering. There were so many things that were out of alignment simply because that person, I was like, they're not as smart as I am. They don't talk like I do. They don't teach like I do. And they have everything I have ever wanted. And the universe said, they don't try as hard as you do. They trust me more than you do. And I'm like, trust what? Because I've been taught this is how you get to where you're going. And that's when I realized, okay, we got to look at Gene Key 42. Because I do think things need to look a certain way. So you'll also know that you're attached when you believe it has to look a certain way. Random side note, celebration is the energy when you believe it does not have to look a certain way. According to Richard Rudd in the Gene Keys book, celebration does not need to look a certain way. It's just a feeling. It's just a knowing. So when Tracy, when you say it's peace in my body, I say, right. So if you can hold on to peace no matter what every day of your life, you will never give a damn about what things look like out here. You'll already have the feeling you want. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay. So in what reality do I already have this thing? So I'm like, I would love $10,000, but I was just playing around with this concept. And one of my biggest breakthroughs back then is actually like a year and a half ago, and I had an $11,000 day. And here's the craziest part about that. Yes, I had an $11,000 day. And I was like, here's what's really cool. When that happened, I was like not expecting, like I was expecting the money, but I wasn't expecting how it happened. So sometimes I think we need to also detach from not just what we want, but we have to detach from the avenue. So if I'm being honest with you, I was attached to the avenue. I was like, it's going to come this way. I know it because I've controlled it so hard. There's no other way it can happen. Listen to that. Then it showed up because I had some things happen and referrals happen and like people I've never even met before. It all worked out. And I'm like, I just had 11,000 day and I worked less hard this day and I did nothing. So what do you think I learned that day? Exactly what I was taught by the universe months before, that I need to stop trying. But you'll never believe that if you're attached to getting validation and worth from the outside world. Does that make sense? So guess what else you have to detach from? I don't know why I'm going so deep with this and telling you my whole life, but it must be for someone. I also had to detach from the judgment or the thoughts that my family would have by being able to receive that when my family's never taught me that it was okay to be that wealthy before. Right? So they're in the stay broke system. So do you know what else I had to detach from? Their opinion. Like, so here's the crazy part. It manifested. I should just be celebrating. No, we still had to learn some detachment lessons. So then the family has something to say about it. I had to detach from their opinions. And then just when I thought I was detached, no, my partner was like, so how did you actually do this? And is it legal? Right? So there's all of these people that seem to have an opinion, and it's not wrong. But the best thing I can tell you about detachment is that life feels like a celebration when you have your own back 100%. Life feels like celebration when you have your own back 100% of the time. Okay. Because I've learned that when I'm detached, here's what's cool. And this might be a really weird analogy, but when you detach, opinions can't hurt you because you're not attached to it. So if you burn string and the string is attached to something, the thing it's attached to will also burn, right? But if you put like the detachment over here and you let go over here and you start to put fire on the yarn or the string or whatever, when the yarn is done, it's done. It's not burning anybody else. So detachment is actually protection, is what I learned. And not protection like the walls are up, protection as in 100% trust that it's okay to trust myself, to love myself, and to know I have my own back. You're only attached when you think something's going to do that for you, right? So I was like, oh man, I got to not be a baby bird. I got to be a damn eagle. The only way to be the damn eagle is to let go of the baby branch and just fly. I'm still allowed to visit my baby bird friends, but I'm going to detach, trusting that my flight will carry me. Otherwise, if you're attached to the branch, you think you're wrong, but the image I just had is maybe the eagle thinks it's fat because the branch broke, but really the branch was weak. Like that's how crazy the attachments get in our head, right? Well, was it me? Did I do something wrong? No, baby, you just care way too much about what the world thinks about you. That's what God has taught me. If I'm being completely honest, unfiltered, God has taught me over and over and over and over again that detachment is when you don't care about what the world thinks about you. And it's not because you're being cold, it's because your opinion finally mattered more than anyone else's about yourself. How you see yourself mattered way more than how other people saw you. Okay, so I'll get off that tangent. So when you're manifesting, you're asking, in what reality does this other thing already exist? And in that reality, can I trust me so freaking much to care only about what I think? Because that's where self-esteem and self-worth actually comes from. So I'll let you talk if you want to. Do you have anything you want to say? Or are you doing good? You're doing good? Okay. So we have 10 more minutes. And I want us to give ourselves a moment to think about 2026. And the thought I had, I was chatting with some friends and they're like, it's a little bit early to be setting the vibration for 2026. And I said, no, creation's already finished. The clock in the calendar, it just keeps going. So if you don't want to do this right now, that's perfect. But I like to get ahead because if I can step into that vibration now and I know that the end is just an increase, why would I not choose celebration and increase right now? Do you know what I'm saying? One of the best, I'm coming in hot with all kinds of paraphrases and things, but one of my favorite things I've ever been taught, I was listening to a manifestation course. And have you guys ever read Think and Grow Rich? And maybe you haven't read it, but you've heard of it because it's got really hot topics to it, especially in the business world. And most people want to talk about the guy that wrote Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill, but it's actually his best friend. His best friend, I forget his name, so I'm not going to quote it, is a self-made billionaire. And back then in like the 1800s or whatever it was, like that's quite some time ago. Now think about that. What does billionaire mean to someone back in that time? Like that's a lot, right? That's besides the point. He says he attributes all of his success, all of his wealth, all of his everything to one thing. And he says, I have one phrase. And he says, do it now. And it's so simple that people will not actually listen. But do it now is the biggest phrase because when you understand the completion and the cycles of things, then you're not waiting on life. He says, wealth, he says, the greatest enemy of wealth is actually delay. It's not your mindset, it's not your worth, it's not how comfortable or confident you feel. The greatest enemy to your bank account, to your wealth, isn't how much you do, it's how much you delay because we delay our futures. Well, I'll do it when I feel better. I'll do it when I feel worthy. I'll do it when I have more energy. And it's not about doing as much as it's about the future is happening now because the future is also complete. I think what he was trying to say is like, you can live in the past, right? Like we talked about at the beginning of this call, all these things that ended really shitty. So we think we're shitty. And then we don't want to go into our future because we think those things that ended hurt us and we don't want to experience that again. So we're constantly delaying our future because we don't want to experience our past. So the best way to manifest is to know that the future is already complete, the past is already complete, but in this space and time, I can choose the sensation, the feeling, the vibration of what I'm selecting. And that makes all of the pressure go off of you because now you don't have to create it. You can choose to see yourself as a creator, but it takes the pressure off. Do you know what I'm saying? Because if you are the creator and you don't get it right and it doesn't show up, you're making it mean something about you. The way to not make it mean something about you is like, Hey, God, universe, I saw this really cool magazine. Here's the lifestyle. I'd love that. Thank you. I trust you'll get it to me when it's supposed to be here. It's just so chill, right? And so I want you to have that vibration going into 2026. So I'm going to give you just probably 3 minutes and I'm going to play some music. And during these 3 minutes, I want you to either close your eyes or journal. But if completion was already finished, this is the question to ask if you don't know what you want. If you do know what you want, then ask, in what reality do I already have this thing? And if you don't know what you want, because a lot of people, they don't, and that's okay. Like, it's really okay not to know what you want. But if you don't know what you want, then I'm going to encourage you to ask the question, if everything and anything is available to me, what would I select next? Because that takes the attachment off of it, right? And if you never hit your goal in 2026, guess what? Creation is already complete. Increase is all you believe in, so who gives a damn? But we have to take off this idea of the rat race. You can do the rat race, or you can play, like I call it, Queen's Throne. And I choose Queen's Throne. I'm like, call me lazy or call me smart. I don't really mind. But if you choose the Queen's Throne, you're saying, cool, I trust that my maker, my creator, the higher power has already created everything. So I'm not going to put pressure on me to go do a damn thing. But I am going to use my creation abilities to select what it is that I want. That's where you put your focus. Okay. So I'm going to give you just a minute to reflect on those two questions. And then, Tracy, if you need me to repeat them, I trust you'll tell me. And then for those watching the recording, if you guys want to, you can keep it even more simple than what I've suggested. Do this your way, please, always. You're asking the question, what's the vibration? Like, if I could choose the vibration to stay in all year and nothing could take me away from it, how would I choose to feel all year long? So it doesn't even have to be a goal or manifestation. It can just be simply like, what is the vibration 2026 is going to give me because I selected it, not because I waited for it. That feels really good. Okay. So did you find a word, a vibration, or have any answers? Oh, mine sounds like, hold on. Okay. Did you find any good answers?
Yes, I did. Do you want
Okay.
me to?
If you want to, it's personal. So if you want to, we would love it. And if you don't, and you're like, no, thanks, that's okay too.
Well, I'll share. I'm happy to share a little bit. The word and feeling that I really want to bring in for 2026 is peace, because that is
Yes. Hmm.
everything, not just relationships, but
Hmm.
nervous systems of myself, my family, my clients, just
Yes.
everything around me, right? And with
Hmm.
that, excuse me, with that, I felt like, where is the reality that carries that? And it just felt like when I'm in alignment, it's here. It's already here. It's here.
Yes.
It's all
Yes.
here. And so as I just focus on some of those things, and then I did go into some manifestations of property and building bigger life for myself and my family, which I sometimes hesitate to do this because I just think, oh, I don't want to think about something that
Mhm.
cannot be here or that is not here yet and get my hopes up. But that actually felt good because I closed my eyes and just imagined myself there in it, and it felt more
Mm.
secure than it ever has doing that. So thank you.
Tracy, you literally, I'm trying not to freak out because maybe I'm making meaning that doesn't belong. But what I hear you saying is that when you asked it that way, it was already done. So you weren't waiting for it. So you weren't getting your hopes up. So you were able to just enter the state.
Yes, I have never with this, with these particular
Yes.
things. Yes.
Yeah, I'm like, my job's done. Good night, everyone. Literally, do you guys hear what Tracy said? And I hope every single one of you do what I've actually crafted for you tonight. She entered us. Hear what she said clearly. I want to recognize it so hard. I'll be soft. She said, I've never, in the past, I didn't want to get my hopes up because it wasn't here yet. What did we talk about all day today? It's not here. It's not here. It's not complete. She changed that and she said, I literally have never been able to access that. Now I'm using my words, but she entered the state because she didn't have to create it. It took the pressure off. She didn't have to feel disappointment if it didn't show up. She's like, well, the desire's there, so I might as well entertain it. What reality do I already have it? That will, I have goosebumps. That is how you actually manifest. I hope you watch this 10 times over. Maybe just the ending because it's that good. But would you agree that's what you felt like it was easy to go there?
Yes, that was so powerful. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank
I love
you.
you. I love you so, so dearly. So much. You don't even know.
My dog
So
loves you too. He's like, I love you, I love you.
he's like, I feel the energy. I'm peaceful. So I want you guys for all of those that watch the recording, whether you're on YouTube or wherever you're at, we love you. Rewatch this. I do have an offering for you. The special invitation is Universal Love Academy. Tracy is already inside of that, so she is all aware of what that looks like. But inside of that academy, I'm just going to keep it short and tell you the link to join us will be in the show notes. And then inside of Universal Love Academy, let's keep it simple. It's literally human design and jinkies, which decode your energetic structure. I'll teach you the energetic structure of the universe, and then combining them together. My goal is to help you experience your power, and not from a place of depletion, but from actual sovereignty, to help you see that you are recognized at a soul level. So I really do want to just see you guys every time I do a live event. My intention is always to recognize you at a soul level because that's what I always wanted done for me. So I created a business that does it for the world. I want to recognize you beyond your labels, your conditioning, your thought process, the shame. I want to get to the core of who you are and expose you to your essence. That's why it's called universal love, because at your essence, you can't not know that. You can't not feel that. You can't not be that, right? So that will be in the, I was going to say the cliff notes, but in the link description. Other than that, though, I hope you guys have a very blessed night and I will see you later. Thanks, guys.
Thank you
Love
so
you.
much.
Bye.